So let's rank all the theatrical films to be produced or directed by legendary animator Don Bluth. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to you as the Big D. And today I'm going to bring to you a ranking. It's going to be on all 10 films to be released theatrically by Don Bluth. Now, he's done many great movies. Some of them were a little bit disappointing, which worked with his friend and colleague Gary Goldman for Gold Crest Productions. Of course, these films were also produced by Sullivan Bluth's Animation Studios. I've ranked all 10 of these movies. Now, these are only his theatrical films, so I'm not including his 2 short films, which include Disney's The Small One. I am also excluding Bartok the Magnificent, since that was a direct-to-video movie. So, if you are ready, let's get into this ranking, because I know I want to try and get this through to y'all. Here we go, and now let's begin. Here we go. Number 10 is A Troll in Central Park from 1994. Now, this was released in several countries as Stanley's Magic Garden. Well, although this was the last film Bluth had Dom DeLuise lend his voice to, since he was certainly no stranger to working with Bluth. And it also included Charles Nelson Riley, who also lent his voice to some of Bluth's work, though it also included Cloris Leachman and Jonathan Pryce and Haley Mills. This film was unfortunately a big dud at the box office. This was Bluth's one and only film not to make a million. It failed to only make $71,000 at the box office. And many professional critics have regarded it as Bluth's worst film. I can't really complain about this, since the film was originally released by Warner Brothers, though Fox later bought the rights to it after soon he would leave for that studio later on. But anyway, I haven't really seen this film completely. I've just heard of it, though. I might have seen some bits and pieces of it. I might look into it one day, I may not. That just depends. Because like I said, this film was a major dud. If you know what I mean, of course. Number 9 is The Pebble and the Penguin from 1995. Now, this film was also a dud. But however, it would go on to become a cult classic as it was released on video. Bluth and Goldman would return to MGM and United Artists, who had already released Bluth's breakout hit, The Secret of Them, and All Dogs Go to Heaven, which are still to come on this ranking. Unfortunately, towards the end of the production of the film, the studio significantly changed the movie, forcing Bluth and Goldman to leave their film and demand to have their names taken off, unfortunately. Horrible. Yep. But anyway, and it was also the last film to be produced by Sullivan Bluth Studios before it went down due to bankruptcy. Though it had a pretty reasonable cast, including Martin Short, who played the main penguin, Hubie, plus Annie Golden, John Belushi, and of course Tim Curry as the villain, Drake. I have seen this maybe once or twice, and it's an alright movie. It's not really one of the best, though, but well, it's kind of cute in some ways, though. I might review it sometime down the road. You never can tell, though. Number 8 is Rock-A-Doodle. Originally released in 1991 in the UK and Ireland, it wouldn't come to us until April of 92. Now, I just finished revisiting this film on Tubi. I had not seen this film in ages. I still had a little bit of memory of it, but not a whole lot. Though the film features a pretty good cast that includes country legend Glenn Campbell in the only other film I know of he's been in, aside from the original True Grit, plus Christopher Plummer, Charles Nelson Riley, let's see, Eddie Deason, Sandy Duncan, and even boss hog of Dukes of Hazzard fame, Sorrell Book himself, and Phil Harris in his final film role before his retirement from acting and his death 4 years later after this. Of course, Harris was best known for his work in various Disney films such as The Aristocats, The Jungle Book, and Robin Hood. Well, I will say it's good and it's factually good in ways. It's not really one of the best, but anyway, it's of course loosely based on the comedy play Chanticleer. But anyway, the film unfortunately was also a major disappointment, only managing to bring in 11 million. I still think it's still factually good in ways, though, but still not really one of the best, though. Number 7 is Thumbelina from 1994. Now, this film was released in March, whereas A Troll in Central Park would be released over half a year later. Now, this film, well, it had a pretty good soundtrack done by William Ross and legendary adult contemporary superstar Barry Manilow. This film did reasonable, but not great though. Originally released by Warner Bros., the film only managed to bring in 17 million, despite it had a reasonable cast including Gary Imhoff and John Hurt, as well as Charo and Gilbert Gottfried, and even Carol Channing, who was currently voicing Granny on the Addams Family cartoon on ABC at the time, and also she won a Razzie for Worst Song. But the only thing I really liked about it was Joey Benson voicing the title character. Of course, Benson was back at the time who was more recently voicing a certain Little Mermaid named Ariel at the time, yes, because the Little Mermaid animated series was still on CBS at the time. But I gotta give her credit for that. That's only one of the real things I liked about this movie. This film was on Disney Plus. I don't think it is anymore. It might be available in some countries. I'll just have to look again. It's pretty cute in ways, though. Number 6 is Tie-In AE from 2000. This unfortunately was Bluth's last film. Originally released by Fox, the film got mixed reviews, but unfortunately didn't do too well. It only managed to bring in 36 million overall at the box office. Lost a lot of money at the box office against its 75 to 90 million budget. It was the only other theatrical film to be done by Fox Animation Studios after, well, their first one, which that'll come up. I'll tell you why it is in a little bit. But anyway, I haven't seen this film in years, though it has a pretty good cast that included Matt Damon and Drew Barrymore, John Leguizamo, Nathan Lane, Janine Garofalo, Ron Perlman, and even rapper Tone Loc even. I will say this film's not too bad, and I do like the score done by Graham Revell, if I can remember a little bit of it. But the only thing I know about is the song "Over My Head" by the band Lit, which was on the soundtrack. But Tie-In AE, definitely a pretty good movie. I need to revisit this someday. Alright, now for the top 5. Number 5 is The Land Before Time from 1988. Now, if you've not seen my review of this, I just did a review of. You can check that out. I'll put that in the suggestions coming up. Anyway, this was a very good movie, and this was his only other flick to be done with the help of Steven Spielberg. But also, George Lucas was involved in this as well. It featured a pretty good cast, including narration by Pat Hingle, who would go on to play Commissioner Gordon in the Batman film series the following year. It also was one of the two films that posthumously featured the late Judith Barcy, who was brutally murdered by her father, she and her mother. But anyway, the film still did pretty well, making 84 million. But I loved the whole cast, well, of characters that include Littlefoot, Sarah, Petrie, Ducky, and Spike. They were all pretty good. Now, Bluth, unfortunately, or the other guys were not involved in the direct-to-video sequels, which I've never seen. But even so, The Land Before Time is definitely a great prehistorically fun flick. Number 4 is, excuse me, everyone. Oh, don't hang on a second. Sorry. Number 4 is Anastasia from 1997. Sorry, my bad. It just slipped my mind. Anyway, now this was the first film from Fox Animation Studios, and this was so good. I also did a review of this. This was so much fun. I have it on video as well as its soundtrack, which featured the great songs of Once Upon December and Journey to the Past. Though it has a pretty good voice acting cast that included Meg Ryan, John Cusack, Kelsey Grammer, Hank Azaria, Christopher Lloyd, Bernadette Peters, Kirsten Dunst, and Angela Lansbury, this was just so much fun to watch. I recently revisited it on Disney Plus last year. But anyway, it was just so much of an amazing film. The film to this day remains Bluth's most successful film with 140 million. I think it's pretty good. The movie should still be on Disney Plus if you haven't seen it yet. I think you ought to check it out if you haven't. Number 3 is The Secret of Nim from 1982. Now, this I'm very familiar with. This is the film that easily put Bluth on the map. After he recently did some of those short films I've mentioned earlier, as well as an anime sequence for the underrated cult classic 1980 musical flick Xanadu, well, he gave us this epic fantasy adventure film based on the book Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. With a great cast that includes Elizabeth Hartman, Peter Strauss, Arthur Mallet, and Dom DeLuise, of course, Derek Jacobi, and a host of others, this film was just a blast. I've revisited it a few times before, and it would be followed by a direct-to-video sequel, but however, it just wasn't good. I've never seen it, never will want to watch it. They have been talking about doing a live-action computer-animated remake 6 years ago, but I'd say that's probably not happening yet. But it could happen. But I think the characters are really good. Well, Miss Frisbee was Miss Brisby, which that was fine. I liked her, and I liked Dom DeLuise's performance as Jeremy, as her Crow. I've just got to say, they were all pretty good characters. It has great voice acting. I think you'll really like it. It's a pretty dark movie in ways, but still, it's pretty good. Now for the final 2. I don't think this was a tough decision. I think we should just go on. Number 2 is All Dogs Go to Heaven from 1989. Now, I recently did a review of this not so long ago. I love this movie. This was a childhood favorite of mine, featuring Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise, plus Vic Tayback in his final performance before he passed away, plus the final performance of Judith Barcy. I gotta say, this was just so much fun. I love the characters in this movie. Charlie and Itchy, they were all good. Carface was definitely a pretty good villain. I loved Anne-Marie, who was just so adorable. Oh, this was just so much fun. Nevertheless, the film did well, despite going up against The Little Mermaid. But it would spin out a sequel, which I've also already reviewed, which Bluth was not involved in. But I think this movie's pretty good, though. I do like the sequel, but I like this one just as much. Number one is An American Tail from 1986. Now, this film was Bluth's first attempt of working with Steven Spielberg. Anyway, now this is easily a classic, featuring a pretty good set of voice actors, which also include Dom DeLuise and Christopher Plummer, who, of course, later on went on to do the bad guy in Rock-A-Doodle. Anyway, I love the characters in this movie. Of course, you gotta love Fievel Mousekewitz, and let's see, and Tiger, definitely a good character. And I like the Mousekewitz family; they were all really good and what have you. And of course, the ever popular song "Somewhere Out There," which of course that was a big hit, as it was done by Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram at the end credits. But anyway, I love this movie. You can't go wrong with a film like An American Tail. It's just so amazing. A review of it will be coming up later on this November, so be on the lookout for it. It will on to put out a follow-up, which Bluth was not involved in, which was Fievel Goes West, as well as a CBS TV series called Fievel's American Tales, and two direct-to-video sequels, which I wasn't too thrilled with those. But there you have it. An American Tail's my favorite Don Bluth film. So what did you think of this ranking? Please tell me what you thought about in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel, be a part of the Big D Nation, and join me next time when I'll do a very special review. I will go on with my next vid coming up, but I'll tell you about that when I do the special review. So thanks for watching, and if you like this, check out these last three of these movies I just talked about. The upper left-hand corner is the review of Anastasia. The upper right-hand corner is the review of All Dogs Go to Heaven. And the bottom left-hand corner is my recent review of The Land Before Time. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.